up, geeks? In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to recreate this Batman versus Superman look. Now, I'm not going to show you how to create the Batman side because I just uploaded a Batman tutorial showing you how you can do this, but I'm going to show you how to recreate the Superman side and also how to recreate the Batman versus Superman logo, which is right here on my chest. I want to say something real quick. I got a few comments saying that I should wear pasties, and I just don't feel comfortable wearing pasties because I feel like I'm still naked essentially. I know there's something covering my nipple, but I would feel really naked, at least with the bandeau top. Like, I feel a little bit more covered up, and I'm just not comfortable with that idea, and maybe I will eventually be, but not anytime soon. So I know about pasties. I'm not dumb, but I just prefer to use masking tape, even if the look doesn't look as like finished, because honestly it would be nicer to have pasties because then I wouldn't have this line here and I wouldn't have the light reflecting on the masking tape. But I just feel more comfortable, and I'm going to do what makes me feel comfortable. I'm not going to put videos where I just feel totally like uncomfortable putting them online. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you'll be notified every single time I upload. With that being said, let's begin.
So the first thing you're going to paint on is the Batman Superman logo. Now this is not a logo I came up with. This is like the logo they made for the movie to combine Batman and Superman. So you take a dark gray paint. You don't want to use black. If you use black, it's just going to be too dark and it will take away from all the detailing you're going to be doing on the Superman and Batman side. So you want to use a dark gray paint, and you use that to outline the bat. So next you're going to do is you're going to take a gray paint that is lighter than the one you used to outline the bat, and you start painting on the holes where the S is. So all the detailing to show that there is an S outline, because you don't straight up paint on an S, you just paint holes that kind of create the shape of an S. You're going to be using a lot of gray tones for this, and you use a lot of gray tones for the Batman look as well, and you need all these tones to create the dimension that you want, and so it doesn't look like a flat painting. So once you've done that, you take a lighter gray paint, lighter than the two colors you just used, and you start filling in the bat area. When you start to fill in the S area with the gray paint, you got to make sure you use two different tones of gray paint, one that's a little darker and one that's a little lighter, because that's how it looks, the logo. And it could just be the shading that's creating this, and that's my guess, but you want that shading because you want it to look really realistic. You don't want it to just look like kind of cheap. So yeah, when you're painting the center of the S, use two different tones of gray paint in that area. And you don't need a bunch of gray paints to do this look. You just need a white and black face paint, and then you can mix up together a bunch of different gray tones. Once you've got the gray base color painted on, you're going to take a red paint and apply that to the center of the S. When you reference a picture, you're going to know exactly where to apply the red paint. And it's nice to have that gray tone under the red paint so it can stop the paint from being too pigmented, because you don't want it to be too red in that area. And we're going to end up using eyeshadow later to help blend it in better with the gray paint. Now you're going to add shadows within those holes that are around the S. You just want to use a dark gray paint to do this. And again, when you're referencing a picture, you're going to know exactly where to paint on these shadows. You don't want to paint the entire hole with this dark color, otherwise it's going to take away from the depth. After you've done that, you use a yellow paint to highlight the holes. So that's why you don't paint the entire inside of each hole totally black or dark gray. You want to use a yellow color to help highlight it, and that adds the depth that you need there to make it actually look like there's a hole. Then you're going to add a little bit of orange and red highlighting to the yellow highlight. And I'm going to keep saying this, but if you're staring at the picture, you'll see exactly what it is that you have to do. You're going to see the red, orange, and yellow tones I'm talking about. You're going to see the red that's in the middle of the S. You're going to see exactly what it is that you have to do. So I won't say that anymore. Just remember to look at a picture. I started to highlight around the bat, so I used a light gray paint to highlight just the edges of the bat, and then I used a white paint to highlight the very outer edges of the bat to make it look more lifted and help the holes that are around the S look a little bit deeper. Before I did the main highlighting and shading to the S, I decided I wanted the bat to look a little bit more texturized. So what I did was I used Creme paints to do this. I used a red one and I applied that right over the red paint, and then I used a dark gray and a light gray cream paint and applied that around the edges of the bat, and I just ripped a cosmetic sponge in half and pounced those colors onto the bat, and that gives the texture I need for this look. Now is when you're going to use a black paint, and you're going to use that to create shadows within the holes. So you apply the paint between the yellow highlight and then the shadow you created with the gray paints. And this is why you don't want to use black paint as the base color for your bat, because if you do that, it's not going to create any depth. The black paint within there is going to look just like the bat, and then it just takes away from all the depth. Apply some black paint below the bat to create a shadow. You can now use a white paint to start highlighting around the S and the holes. Highlight around each hole to create a lot of depth, and then the center of the S you can start adding some details there. When I paint my looks, I like to make them look a little bit more realistic. I did not want this logo to be just, gray paint and a black paint and a yellow paint. It's just going to look like a comic book version of it. I didn't want that. I wanted it to look the way it does in the picture, so that's why there's so many steps to create the perfect logo. Got 3 more things I want to show you for the logo, and then we can move on to the rest of the suit. First thing is you're going to take a black eyeshadow and you're going to shade around the bat here and there, and this is just going to add a lot of dimension to it. And you'll see once I start shading just how much more dimension it adds to the entire logo. Then use your red eyeshadow to create a more seamless gradient between the red paint and gray paint. Final thing I did was take that light gray cream paint that I used to give texture to the outside of the bat, and I apply that to the main holes that are in the S, so the top and bottom holes, just to the center of it, and it adds a lot of depth there, like a lot. It's like the cherry on top for the look. Now we can move on to the rest of Superman's suit. For the base color of Superman's suit, you're going to want to mix together a dark denim blue color. You don't want to use like the classic blue color that a suit normally is. In the promo pictures I've been looking at, it looks like a darker blue. I mean, it could very well be that classic blue, but like I said, the promo pictures, it looks darker to me, and I rather go from what I see in the promo pictures than what I don't know. Like just kind of guessing, oh yeah, it's the classic blue, I'm just going to go with the darker blue. Anyways, you're going to do most of the highlighting and shading before you do the detailing, just because you can't do it after you do the detailing. So mix together a lighter blue color and use that to highlight around the suit. You use that color to paint on the fabric that is around the cape. That area is lighter than the base color of the suit. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and paint the cape red. Now, if you want to make it look like the cape is lying over your shoulder, you don't paint your entire arm blue. Keep that area blank so that you can paint it red. So it looks like there's cape that is actually lying over your shoulder. So now you're going to mix together a very dark blue color, so you're probably going to want to use more black than blue to create this color, and you use it to define where the 2 different tones of blue are on the suit and then near the shoulder. Then you're also going to use this color to start painting on the detailing that is on Superman's suit. And let me tell you, this is hella hard because the detailing doesn't even really look like the way I painted it on. I had to simplify it because it would have taken forever to paint on, and also really hard to explain to you guys. Because basically what it looks like is kind of like a steel mesh design. It honestly kind of almost looks like bottle caps, like the top of a bottle cap with like a dot in the center. It would have been really, really hard to paint on. So what I did was created a bunch of like small S shapes, but they're like an oblong S, almost like a squiggle, like half of a squiggly line. And I created a bunch of them just going down the entire suit. It's not exactly like the design that is on his suit, but it does give that texture. It creates a texture to the suit rather than it's just like a blue suit and that's it. Once I've done that, I use a white paint to highlight randomly around those S shapes. I didn't use just white paint to highlight on the suit. I also used a white cream paint and a circular brush and just dab that onto the suit. So it creates a nice soft highlight rather than a harsh highlight with the white paint. I also highlighted the cape with that white cream paint. Now you want to take a black eyeshadow and use that to shade. You're going to shade under your muscles to help them look more muscular. Doesn't matter what I do. I'm not going to have the body of Superman even after shading, but I can make myself look a little bit more muscular if I shade. And then you also take that black eyeshadow and use it to create wrinkles on top of the cape. And you want to create a shadow in the inner corner of the cape because the cape is like sewn inside of the suit. So when you create that shadow there, it helps it look like that, like it's going inside of the suit. You're going to use the black eyeshadow to shade below the bat. Now I used a flat medium-sized eyeshadow brush, and I wish I would have used one that was a little bit more detailed, because if you're using masking tape like I did, once you apply any makeup to that masking tape, you can't remove it. It is way too hard to blend out. Once it's there, it's there. So you really can't mess up where the masking tape is, and I kind of created the shadow too big, and I wanted to blend it out, and I had a really hard time blending it out. So I just wish right off the bat I would have used something a little bit more fine and detailed so I could have created a smaller shadow. So that's it for the suit. Now the next part you might not even have to do. I just try to make myself look a little bit more manly by filling in my brows, and then I applied a foundation over my lips to cancel out the rosiness on my lips, and then I used a foundation darker than my natural skin tone to help my face look a little bit more squared shape. And then I took that brow pomade I used to fill in my brows and a small little stippling brush, and I just kind of dabbed that right over above my lip and my jawline to create a 5 o'clock shadow. So I'm not going to show you how to paint the Batman suit like I said, just because I have a tutorial for it, and in the tutorial the suit was much more detailed than the final finished product for this particular look. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to be notified every single time I upload. So I'll see you guys pretty soon. Take care. Bye.